Hi, everybody. So I'm Elie Boudara. I'm a Chief Blockchain Officer of an asset management company. So I'm here to introduce you how and why blockchain will have a huge impact and revolution the finance and change the finance generally. Up. Whoa, I have to get used of the clicker. Okay. So to make a quick introduction of who we are and what we are doing. So we are an asset management company based in Paris. We exist in 2011. We are managing 250 million euros on the World Stock Exchange with two thematic funds, one dedicated to robotic and one dedicated to healthcare. And we invest generally in the US, in Japan, in Israel, in those kind of thematic globally. We can see since 1 or 2 years the huge interest of institutional investors, our clients, fund pension, insurance, all those kinds of companies want to come into the blockchain and want to invest into this famous blockchain that is going to change the world. But right now, it's pretty complicated for them to invest in these thematics because it's not regulated. It's a little bit the Far West, like you had in internet in 2000. You have a lot of opportunities, but it's hard to choose, it's hard to find, and it's hard to make a real due diligence and have a real strategy of investment. So what we are doing is that we are bringing our own expertise on finance to build a new asset management company, 100% dedicated to blockchain. Our main goal is to use all the tools that all institutional investors used to have and bring them into the blockchain so they will finally be able to invest in those kinds of projects. Not only on cryptocurrency, but really on blockchain projects. So even on logistic blockchain, even on any blockchain project that does not emit a new currency or a new token, but just a blockchain-based project. So to make that, we are building Trecento Capital with Trecento Blockchain Capital and a new marketplace for fund distribution. And I'm going to explain why it's going to change also several things. Okay, I think here. So to give you a little bit of overview of the market right now, you can see here on the graph the real revenue based on the blockchain. I insist, it's not a market capitalization, it's real business made by blockchain projects. Right now, in 2016, it was 230 million, which is really, really, really small. But when you are looking at what the market is and how the market is going to grow, you can see that the revenue based on blockchain are really going to increase during the next 10 years. And for that, we will need to have blockchain in all kinds of industry. Insurance, bank, healthcare, all kinds of industry will be impacted by the blockchain. And this impact will give them new opportunity of revenue, will give them new opportunity of reducing the cost, and a new way of talking to their customer. The blockchain will bring a new paradigm. Usually, when you want something that is fast, you need to pay more. When you want something that is more secured, you need to use a third party that will cost you a lot. And blockchain is changing all that. Because now you can have fast transaction, cheaper transaction, and secure transaction. And all this new paradigm is bringing trust into the market. This is really something new. Because right now, like I told you, if I want to have a good company for a secured transaction or a custody, for example, in our finance world, you need to have a third party that is going to take some share of your revenue. And because of the blockchain, and thanks to the blockchain, a lot of third party will not be necessary. And also, it will be easier to talk to your customers. So we will talk about 3 use cases in finance industry: the banking, the insurance, and for sure asset management, which is our core business. Here you can see would be the impact of the blockchain in terms of revenue also for the banking system, and how it will impact each steps and each part of banking evolution. For example, let's take payments. You can now make a payment in few seconds. You don't need to wait your wire confirmation from the bank. You don't need to make several calls to be sure that the wire has been done. You can check yourself that everything is done under a few minutes. If you are taking trading activities, all banks have a trading desk. But when you have a trading desk, it means that you need to verify all the transactions that has been made by your traders during the day. You need to make a room of reconciliation where you can check that the order has really been made at this price and that this price is really the price that you are getting the auction, for example. All that will change because of the blockchain. All the general administrative costs, all the banks, all the industry have a back office that need to check the AML, the KYC. A lot of people here are talking about all that kind of compliance. All those costs are going to be cut thanks to the blockchain, because you have new third-party players, or you can even yourself implement new technologies that will make it easier to have a real back office running automated. You will have other departments which will be really, really impacted by that, but one of the most is the fraud transaction department. We know that fraud is a big problem, especially also in the bank universe. And to be able to detect the fraud, we need a lot of data. We need to check a lot of elements that you cannot manage during the same day. Maybe you need to call a third-party company that is not on the same time frame as you. Maybe you will need to check some element that you don't have the data because you're not allowed yet to have those kind of data. Thanks to the blockchain, all this will change because all the records, all the data will be traceable and are already traceable. You can check if a payment has been made, if it hasn't been made in a bad time, in a bad move, to a bad person. All this will help the banking industry to change its way. And I really insist that now the banking industry is the one that takes the most of the blockchain. One of the use cases that we can really see is the Santander use case with the Ripple. So I'm sure you all heard about Ripple, this famous company that has a huge market capitalization last year, where the boss had more money last year than Mark Zuckerberg, the famous Facebook boss. But what we can see is that banks are not using Ripple as a currency. They are using the blockchain technology of the Ripple for their own interbanking system. So what did they do? Santander launched a new platform, OnePayFX, in 4 countries, Spain, UK, Brazil, and Poland. And they used the Ripple technology to make wires in seconds. Even banks have to wait to have a confirmation of wires. It can be 1 day, it can be 2 days, but they have to wait. So using this technology of Ripple, they are already able to make fiat, and I insist, it's not Ripple transaction, it's fiat transaction, euro, dollar transaction, and wire them directly thanks to the Ripple blockchain technology. One of the other use cases that we could see during the last days, maybe some of you have heard, is one guy sent 90 million Litecoin as a wire, and guess how much he paid in fees? 40 cents. And this is like crazy, because nowadays, if you want to make a wire of this amount, it costs you nothing. And this is really a game changer, even for the bank industry, because they are making all the time, they are making wires from one entity to another, from one group to another, from one subsidiary to another. And this cash flow is really important for them. So having the possibility to run a wire in few seconds without having to pay a lot of fees, even if they are banks themselves paying for each other, it's really a game changing for them. And believe me, they are really not used of those kind of changes. But hey, it's happening. And finally, they decide to jump on the occasion and not let it pass, like a lot have done already. I'm going to jump on a secondary market, the insurance. We all have an insurance policy. It's really important. But insurance has also a big problem with the relation of to the customer, with making all the data the same and all the case really the same. And I'm going to take after a really quick example, and you will see how insurance will be able to use the blockchain as a really good leverage. But there are several things. First, like always, fraud detection. Because of the data, because of the blockchain, they can check if somebody is making a false declaration, if somebody doesn't really have this kind of insurance policy. And it will not take days. Right now, if you have a problem, you have to call your insurance, and they have to check your contract to see if yes, you are really, really insured for this case, and if the amount that you are going to claim is really based on the amount of your house, on the amount of your car, and everything. So thanks to the blockchain, they can take elements and detect from the data, from the traceable data and the transparency that bring the blockchain to detect the fraud. This is for them the first real use case. But for us, as the customer, and as an everyday life, we can see that, for example, the IoT, all the connected objects, are going to have a huge impact in your insurance. I'm going to take a simple use case. Let's say that you have a car, and you're having a crash on the road. Your sensor on the car, for example, let's take a Tesla, will be able to send directly an information to your insurance company saying, hey, my Tesla had a crash. Thanks to the sensor, it will be able to detect what was the problem. Is it a big crash? Is it just a small hint that you got on your car? Or is it a real accident? They'll be able also in real time to call 911 and make them come directly on the place where you are and check from your sensor if your health is okay, if you don't have any problem on that. And all those kind of elements will be recorded on the blockchain. So like this, if a few months later you need to pay your medical bills or anything, you don't need to prove that you had an accident. It's written on the blockchain. You don't need to prove that your car has been destroyed because of that. It's written on the blockchain. And because of the smart contract, which is one of the most powerful tools that we can have today on the blockchain, they will be able to automate all the process to reimburse you. And you will be able to have an easier relationship with them to claim your money. So let's say, for example, that your contract say that if your house is burning, no matter what happened, you have to pay that. You have to pay like a small contribution. Once your contribution is made, the smart contract will automatically, for example, check your sensor at home and say, yeah, they had a fire, and this fire burned the whole place. Based on that, they will automatically reimburse you. So no need for human intervention, no need for emotion to be brought into this kind of field. It's automated, trust, transparency, and immutable elements that you can bring on the blockchain. All those elements are really game changers. Why? Because first, they're going to cut on their costs. No need to have a big support client team. Everything can be automated. No need to have a lot of people to make verification and fraud. All can be automated. All the data will bring you the elements and will highlight what case can be a problem and what case is not. The last pillar that I'm going to introduce you today is the asset management. For us, who come into the traditional world of asset management, It's really complicated and it's really a game-changing to have the blockchain. Why? Because right now, if you want to go into your asset manager and have information, you will have to pass through a lot of painful operation. But thanks to the blockchain, now we can have an automated transaction. We will have a KYC that is fully online, fully automated, fully transferable. The fund distribution will not be a problem because funds are decentralized. So you will not need anymore to call your asset manager. You will be able to find online the funds and onboard directly on it. So all those kind of elements are really different. And it will also change the relation that you have with your asset manager. Right now, for example, in our classical company, we publish one report a month. We are calculating our net asset value, the value of the funds, one time a day. And it costs us a lot. We need to use a third-party company that will validate and prove that we are using always the same formula. We will need to wait that this information is transmitted to you, so we'll be able to onboard only later on. Basically, the process will take 3 days. If you want to come into an asset management and come into a fund, right now, the first day you are calling your asset manager, you say, okay, I want to go into your funds. First, they will do your KYC and AML information. Secondly, they will make your risk profile. So ask you question, what kind of risk are you willing to take? Secondly, they will calculate the NAV and we will decide the cutoff. But this is not at this moment that you're going to invest. You will need to wait 2 more days that the trade has been made really, and at the end that you receive your share and that the company requests to you the money. And now, thanks to the blockchain, everything is changing on that. You will be able to onboard in a few minutes. How? Going online, making your online KYC. I know you are all already in crypto exchanges. You all made online KYC. This can take only 5 minutes. When your KYC is done, you go into the fund. The net asset value is calculated on the last minute. It costs $2 for us to calculate it compared to $2,000 actually. So we can calculate this in real time, several times a day. And once the NAV calculation is okay for you and that you said, okay, I want really to enter into this fund, you send the money. 5 minutes later, you get your tokens or you get the information as you are on board on the fund. The whole process took less than 1 hour. Compared to the 3 days that we are having today, this is a huge revolution. Not only for the company by himself that can onboard clients easily, but also for investor because you are not losing investment opportunity anymore. Let's say that the market is going up like it went crazy during June and the last 6 months. If you missed 1 day where the market go up at 20%, it's a problem. You don't want to miss that opportunity. Thanks to blockchain and thanks to online onboarding and fund distribution, you are not missing anything. It takes you 1 hour to go into the fund and you are operating directly. So no missing investment opportunities, and you can really choose on which fund you are going to invest. This is a real game changing for us asset manager. So it's really simple. This is working because of the smart contract. This is not only the blockchain by himself, because the blockchain, yes, it's a distributed ledger that everyone are talking. It's mainly for transaction, but the real smart thing on that is a smart contract. And like I told you, the smart contract is going to be everywhere in every kind of industry. I am not going to try to tell you that everything is going to change. because at the end, for example, it's always a question of money. How much money am I winning? How much money am I losing? It's more about trust. It's more about how you can follow that the investment that you want to make has really been made in the good time. And blockchain will bring new thing on that is transparency. Because when you publish your report, you will not be able to change it. You will not be able to accommodate it depending on the people that you send it. Your report is published on the blockchain. You will not be able to change it. All your trades will be traceable. So any investors will be able to follow by himself, without you, how good you worked. And it's not only bring me 5%, bring me 10%. It's also, did you follow the rules? Did you invest in the risk profile that I wanted to invest? Did you follow the kind of order I wanted you to invest? This is the main thing that the blockchain and the smart contract are bringing to the market. So generally, all the data that you find here are coming from big companies that do a lot of research. We are like, I told you, an old asset management company, like I could say. And what we want to do is just simply bring our professionalism, our expertise into these new markets. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't hesitate if you have questions.
So, questions? Everyone goes quiet again.
It was clear.
No, I have a question. So, what you're talking about is overlaying a blockchain solution on top of existing business models.
One of the things.
Okay. Whereas another school of thought would be to use blockchain to completely reinvent asset management, for example, and do it entirely differently. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a good thing, but I think it's different targets. Our target as asset manager is institutional investor. And when you are talking to a pension fund or an insurance, they don't want a revolution. They want to have a clear process. They want to be safe in their investment. And they don't want really new things. So even if it's good for some guys to try to make a new kind of asset management company, this is not our target. Our target is quite the opposite. Is bring all the things that made finance great in this world, that make trust for investors, that allows investors to have diversified investments, a real investment strategy into this kind of markets. So for us, for example, it's simple. It's bringing funds that are registered with an ISIN code, funds that you will be able to find in Bloomberg, all the things that institutional investors knows. Make your asset management company in a regulated and safe environment. Not going into the BVI, not going into Caymans, but bring those tools of regulation that helps a lot of investors to come into the market, into the asset management world. And this is where it begins. Because right now, you all know that cryptocurrency are 90% retail users, wealth retail users or early adopters. But the big player, the ones that really have the money, are not here yet. And when those guys will arrive, they will not bring 1,000, 10,000. They will bring 100,000 million euros in a day. And when those guys bring this into the markets, they don't want to give it to any guy. They want to give it to a company that has clear process, that know how it works, that have an expertise on how to manage money, how to make clear reports, how to be transparent. So to answer your question, I will say yes, it's good to try to make a new kind of revolution. All depends of what is your goal and what is your target. Our target is institutional investor, so we want to bring them confidence and trust so they can come into the blockchain, which is already complicated for them. But some retail investors only want to try new things. And for that, they will go to this kind of new asset manager. but there is enough space for everyone. The idea is not to take the whole market. The idea is to make the blockchain great again.
Any more? Any other questions? Oh, I know it's the end of the afternoon. Come on. So clear. Everyone was clear then. Right, I think you're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.